Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today what I thought I would do is that I would run you through all of my sales for the year so you can kind of understand where I'm at with them. I've got all my sales here on an Excel spreadsheet. I've got my notes here based on what has happened over each individual month so I can give you a bit of an understanding as to why I've come to these numbers and where I'm at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the computer. I'm going to bring that up on screen so you can see it and I'll talk you through it. This is new for me. I've not done screen capture before and then put it on the screen in real time with my audio, so bear with me. I'm going to run you through the details now, so let's jump into the computer. Specs on. Okay, so here you can see my sales for basically all time, really. So here, if you look at the top column, or row 2, we've got our 2018 sales, 2017 sales, how much growth I had year on year. So just to run you through that, totals for the first year, totals for 2016 when I started this, I did 122,000 in sales. These are sales including VAT, so VAT is present in these numbers, so just so you understand. So I did 122,000 in sales in 2016. 2017 I managed to do 254,000, so $250,000 in sales, and year on year that was up 208%. So I thought, yeah, okay, that was pretty good. I managed to double my sales with a bit of focus. And then I thought for my forecast for this year, I'll do the same again. So I want to try and double sales again, basically. So there's my sales for 2017, which is the 254,000. So this year I said, well, why not go for 530,000? So $500,000 in sales, basically. So I'm trying to do that based on the fact I went 208% up year on year last year. I'll try to do exactly the same again and go 208% up this year as well. So that was my target. Big numbers, was never really sure if I was going to get there and be able to do it. So I'll run you through where I'm at and how I got there. So firstly, let's look at January. So in January I did 9,000 sales. So my forecast was 20,000. And I basically came in flat to my forecast in January, which is great. Now there's a few things. January was particularly bad because I changed my company. I closed one, opened another, and I needed Amazon to move my account from my old company onto my new company. So that took a lot of time, a lot of messing about, which was a real hassle in 2017. Didn't have that problem this year, so as you can see, 20,177 in sales, which is pretty good. So overall, year on year, that was 104% up. So that's double. I doubled what I did last year, which is bang on target. I was quite happy with that. And only 2% shy of forecast, which is basically flat. And then what happened in Jan is I bought a new van. I invested my money in that. I bought a bulk buy deal of Geox shoes. Let's have a quick drink. I bought a bulk deal of buy deal of Geox shoes. So then basically between Feb and May, I spent listing those on eBay, which is time when I wasn't focusing on my Amazon business. So my Amazon is 90% of what I do. Because I was focusing on eBay, Amazon suffered. And you can see here from the numbers. So 2018 sales, 16 grand in Feb, whereas I had forecast 25, but last year I did 12. So I'm 36% up on last year, but 35% shy of forecast. And then that trend continued into March, where I was actually down slightly year on year. Some of this is due to the van. So when I got the van, I basically had an incident where it was vandalized, and then the insurance company didn't believe me that it was vandalized. They said it was my fault, which it wasn't. So I spent 6 months battling this insurance company. So a lot of my focus went on that, which was very, very upsetting. But in the end, I got the right result. But 6 months of not having the asset that I purchased was dead money. So it's money I could have invested in stock, but no, I had to wait for 6 months to get this flipping van back, which has really had a huge impact on my whole yearly sales. So right from the get-go of this year, I was set up to not achieve, basically. So it was quite upsetting, but I'm working through it, and certain things maybe pull it back a little. But overall, because of this massive setback for 6 months of this year, it's put me well off where I wanted to be on my forecast, which is a little bit upsetting. So March, mostly spent listed stuff on eBay, didn't have the van, battling them. And then in April, I managed to pull it back a bit. So I'd finished kind of doing the bulk of the listing stuff on eBay, and then what happened from April to June was that Toys R Us and Maplin also went out of business. Now that's Christmas for me, because I do a lot of business selling clearance products. I buy liquidation stock, and these are two big businesses with stuff that churned very easily. So when we look at April, wasn't particularly good. Down versus forecast, but still 38% up on last year, so that's kind of good. But then May is when it got really crunchy for Maplin. They started dropping the prices. Now I got really tuned into what they were doing at Maplin. I found out that they were dropping their prices every Thursday to try and clear through stock. So every Thursday I rocked up, reassessed an entire store, picked up all of the great products that they had, and then I would take that knowledge and then visit as many other stores as I could and pick up the same products and continue to churn them. So really good May for me. Really good May. I don't know what happened last year. I only did 9,000 in sales, which is a bit rubbish. But this year I managed to do 21,000. So good numbers really. Turns out that I came in 132% up versus last year and 11% up based on forecast, which is great. June, much of the same. Capitalised on that Maplin and Toys R Us clearance sales and the stock that they were getting rid of. So did very well off of June as well, where I was 113% up on last year and 2% above forecast. Now, July, what happened in July? Let's have a look at my notes here. So from the back end of June, July, August, I was training my warehouse to be able to pack my Amazon stock for me, so I could free up time and spend more focus sourcing the right products. Because as you know, when you're doing retail arbitrage or retail in general, the money's made when you buy the product. So I wanted to focus my efforts on buying the right stuff and outsourcing some of the stuff I didn't need to do. So I spent a lot of time training them there. Hey, I've just got a little point here I've remembered whilst I'm editing this that I didn't include in the numbers and the reasons why my sales were particularly bad at the end of July and into August. I had that Amazon fraud issue. It's just dawned on me that I didn't bring it up in the numbers, but man, that cost me loads. So the fact is they had a big chunk of money, like a serious big chunk of change tied up. It was like $4,000 or something like that, trying to deal with this fraud issue. And simultaneously at the same time, Tesco Direct shut their website and there was so much stock flying around. The opportunities for me in August were vast. So I couldn't actually go and purchase that stock. So another setback for the year. Add it into the commentary as you will behind the numbers. Anyway, back to the other video. So July was still good, up year on year, but down versus forecast. Still good year on year numbers, happy with that, so it wasn't really too much of an issue. Now as we get into August and September, last year, August, September was incredible for me because I found one particular product that moved really well. Competition was low, people didn't really know about it, so I was churning through stuff, really high margin, really fast selling, and this one particular product did the bulk of my sales through August and September. And that's the thing with retail arbitrage. Every now and then you'll find a product that's absolutely killer, and the thing is you just need to dive in and go really hard for as long as you can before the rest of the market kind of understands and then swoops in and then brings your price down. So as we got towards the end of August, September last year, that product was no longer a profitable product for me. So I cleared through the stock that I had and then kind of stepped away and started sourcing and looking for other stuff. So consequently, when it came into October last year, I only did 19k, which is really low considering the fact that we're moving into Q4. Stuff should have been ramping up. I don't think I could source the products. I think it was a sourcing issue, so I couldn't really find what I wanted to sell. So that's the main issue that happened in October. But this year had a very, very good October. So I found some really good products. I probably found the equivalent product that I found last year this year, and I'm continuing to punt it, and it's continuing to do me very well. Now from about August, September time, I've also been able to ship pallets into Amazon. So you've been following my journey. Shipped my first pallets back in sort of June, July when I was working with the warehouse, and now I've continued to ship pallets into Amazon. This particular product that's really good for me is an oversized product. It's very large. It'd be a right pain in the bum to ship it in boxes. But because I've got pallets, it's a perfect storm really. Because I've got pallets, And because this is an oversized product, people tend to steer away from the oversized product, but now I'm sort of becoming an oversized product specialist. So in terms of October, very good for me. Did 31,000 this month, last month in October, but still, so I was 66% up year on year, but I was still 20% shy of the forecast. So if you were to look at all of this, there's a lot of red numbers on here. I've hit a lot of speed bumps this year that have not really allowed me to grow at the same rate I would have liked to. But saying that, October, I've had a cash injection, I've got a loan, the pallet stuff's working really well, and November is the next target. So we're just in November now. Sales are kind of okay, but I've shipped lots of pallets worth of stock in. So when those sales start flowing through, it should be happy days. But let's take a look at last year. So 2017, October, I did 19K. November, I did 67K. So that's a huge jump. I over tripled my numbers in November versus October. So this year, I've done 31,000. If I was to do the same jump and triple my numbers again, I would be at 100,000. Although my forecast is 142. So I would still be shy of my forecast, but I would overshoot last year by, you know, a fair bit if I can. But it's going to be a huge challenge. And as we move into December, looking at last year, 37,000. December can definitely be improved upon. November is going to be a huge challenge because last year I bought probably 30 grand's worth of stock from Tesco Direct. And it turned up to my house in the back of an Arctic lorry, 6 pallets, got dropped off, spent a full weekend processing it, and then that pretty much cleared me through a lot of November. I think I did exactly the same thing one more time. But last year was huge for me, absolutely huge. So if I was to take, let's go, last year's numbers, so that's 67,000 plus that, move that down there. So I did 100K in November and December alone last year, which is massive numbers. I'm a little bit concerned about whether I can achieve that this year, to be honest. So if I was to look at the entirety of last year's sales, which is that $250,000 figure, if I was to take those 2 months and divide them by my overall year, I did 41% of my sales in 2 months. 41% of my sales in 2 months. So if I'm going to achieve something like that, I need to find new places to source. You know, Tesco Direct isn't an option anymore. I've got a big challenge coming up. I've got a big challenge coming up over these next few months. It's going to be really hard to do, but I'm up for it. I'm up for the challenge. But in all honesty, hitting 530K in sales this year is probably not going to be achievable. Too many speed bumps. Had a really bad start to the year. You know, $500,000 is not something you can pull out of the bag in a couple of months. It's something you need to keep plugging away at and keep achieving your forecast throughout the year. You know, I'm going to do my best to pull it back, but in all honesty, that's probably not going to be that achievable. So if I was to look at my current sales numbers, you know, if I was to look at my current trend and extrapolate that for the next 2 months of the year, I'm likely to hit 350K in sales. And I think that's a fair target. That is a fair target for this year, I'd say. And so far I've done 200. So I need to do 150K in sales over the next 2 months to get to that figure. So big numbers, I'm going to try and do it. But in reality, I think it's going to be much more modest growth year on year than I had forecasted. But, you know, a forecast is there to set yourself a target. It doesn't mean that you're going to achieve it, but, you know, set your standards high is what I'd say. Set your standards high and try and get there. $500,000, not sure it's achievable. I'm going to try my damned hardest to try and get there. If I can, then great. If not, I've still got year on year growth. As long as I'm growing every year, I'm not really too bothered, to be honest. So that is my sales roundup for the year so far. I've got some big challenges ahead. I've got a lot to go after. I'm going to be working my butt off. But like I said, the van's in place now. I've got the cash injection that I needed in the form of a loan, and I'm also able to ship pallets into Amazon as well. So hopefully with those 3 things in place, I can have a really strong remainder of the year, I'm going to be trying really hard. I'm going to get my head down and I'm going to try and smash sales as much as I can. So all of this, guys, is basically retail arbitrage, just so you're aware. Retail arbitrage, buying products at a lower price or on deal in retailers and selling it online. Completely achievable. I make circa 20% on everything that I make. Last year in my accounts I did 20% margin, almost on the nose. So I'm trying to achieve that again this year. If I hit 350k in sales, I'm likely to make 70k in profit. Now a lot of that will be coming out on wages for me and my mother, fuel, stuff like that. So after it's all said and done, hopefully I can clear 40k in sales, in profit for the business, which would be great. And then next year, because I've already got the van, I could look at getting another bulk buy deal again. But essentially I've already outlaid my big expenses. So I'm set now for success. So regardless of where I come in this year, I'm hoping that I can definitely exceed the 500,000 mark next year, providing the competition doesn't hot up too much and I am able to spend more time sourcing the right products rather than doing the actual doing in my business. So there's lots of things to try and put in place, and outside of this I want to develop some other revenue streams as well. So all in all, is what it is. I would have liked to have hit 500,000, not quite there, but still not bad numbers really, considering that I work for myself and it's a 2-person business. And my mother only works between 1 and 3 days a week. She mostly does bookkeeping, so majority of these sales and where I've got to is based off my own work. So that's where we're at. Now, as a few people have been asking me to create a course to help you guys sort of replicate what I'm doing here. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to look to create that course for you guys. I would like to understand your opinions on what you would like to see. Would you like it to be specifically focused on online and retail arbitrage on Amazon? Would you like to see if you can replicate my entire journey, bulk buys, eBay, everything along the side, all in one? Or maybe another option, you would like to see maybe a 0 to 85k sales plan, because if you did that, then you would stay underneath the VAT barrier and you can create a decent income without having to pay VAT. So they're the kind of options of the courses that I'm looking to put together. So if you let me know down in the comments which one of those would be the most interest to you. And secondly, I'm also going to put a link down the bottom as well, so you guys can register your interest for my course if you're interested in learning what I do and seeing if you can replicate the figures and the process and the fact that I've managed to quit my job and achieve these kind of like lofty numbers, which I probably didn't believe I could have achieved really before I quit my job. So I kind of just dived in, but I've learned, I've made all the mistakes. I know exactly the right ways to source and where to find products and how to just increase your business and make you more profitable. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know in the comments what kind of course you'd be interested in seeing from me. And secondly, register your interest on the link below to let me know, and I'll give you more details as they come along. So as the course develops, I'll get you guys to know, and some of you can get a very cheap discounted rate to start off because you could be my guinea pigs and help me tweak any stuff with any questions that you might have. Cool. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Let me know if this has been of interest to you, and this might be something I do every month to let you understand the highs and the lows and the things that I've gone through. But it's been quite interesting digging into the numbers, and yeah, happy to share. Anyway guys, keep cracking on, let's smash Q4, keep hustling, peace.